Let's go ahead and talk about the September 1st episode of Monday Night Raw, where they were live in Paris, France tonight. Now, Raw is coming on at 2 p.m. on the East Coast on Netflix, so that's why it's a little bit early today. But they are live in Paris, France, and this is the aftermath of Clash in Paris. So yeah, that's what it's all about. But yeah, we kick off the show with the first segment of the night where we see CM Punk outside in the parking lot. The Raw general manager Adam Pearce comes up talking to CM Punk, and CM Punk is waiting for Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch to come pulling up. So yeah, that's what he says he was doing. But then after that, we get to the first segment of the night where we see main event Jey Uso. He comes out there to the ring. The crowd is pumped for him and everything. And the crowd wanted Jey to run it back one more time. But then Jey says that he's not going to be running it back one more time tonight. And the crowd started booing. But then Jey starts talking about everything. And he says that right now he should have the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist. But all he got is tape around his waist for what happened last night at Clash in Paris. So yeah, that's what Jey was saying there, and Jey was talking about how he came out there to help Roman Reigns, and maybe he should have taken Roman Reigns' advice, and maybe he would have been 100% and went into the world title match and won the world title. But then he says that he don't leave family at all, and he says that he's always there to help his family because he cares about his family. So yeah, that's what Jey was saying there. So then Jey starts calling out Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, the Vision. But instead of them coming out there, we see LA Knight coming out there. LA Knight starts throwing the blame on Jey Uso, talking about how he was going to put Seth Rollins through the announce table and everything. But then Jey stopped him, and that it was all Jey's fault for LA Knight not to be World Heavyweight Champion. Both of them started arguing and everything up until they get interrupted by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. They come out there, and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed was talking about how they took out Roman Reigns last night at Clash in Paris, and he says that pretty much Roman took out Paul Heyman, so Paul Heyman's not there. So then he says that Paul Heyman can't even hold them back, and Seth Rollins is not there either, so they can't hold him back either. So yeah, that's what they was talking about there. And then we see LA Knight and Jey Uso putting their differences aside, and they said, well, how about y'all come down to the ring and we can go ahead and start fighting then. And then they said, well, how about tonight, let's just have a tag team match. So yeah, that's what he said. They're setting up a tag team match in the main event, Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed of the Vision later on tonight in the main event of Monday Night Raw. And then Bronson Reed tells them that he's the tribal thief and that Jey Uso's no yeet and all skeet or something like that. So yeah, that's what Bronson Reed said out of his own mouth. But yeah, that's what happened there, setting up the tag team match in the main event. So yeah, that was a pretty good segment to open up the show. But then after that, we see Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, getting ready for their match up next on Raw. Io Sky comes up and she apologizes for last week on Raw and everything by being around Rhea Ripley, and that Asuka was telling her that everything's okay. But then all of a sudden, Io Sky was like, I want to talk to you about something. And then Asuka pretty much cuts it short right there and says that they get the tag team match and they got to go out there right now. So yeah, that's what she tells her. And then she walks away, and then Kairi was trying to talk to Io, but then Asuka starts calling Kairi, and then Kairi walked away with Asuka. So yeah, that's what happened there backstage. But up next, it'll be the first match of the night. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez of the Judgment Day versus Asuka and Kairi Sane of the Kabuki Warriors. Up next in a tag team match in the first match of the night. So yeah, that match will be up next. And a lot more stuff happening tonight on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, we get to the first match of the night. It was Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors versus Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, the Judgment Day, in a tag team match tonight on Monday Night Raw. We get to this match. It was pretty good for the most part. We see Asuka and Roxanne was illegal people in this match, going at it back and forth inside the ring. Raquel was trying to get up on the ring apron because she got knocked out of the ring by Kairi Sane, and then Asuka hits the hip attack onto Raquel, knocking her off the apron. And then that's when Kairi Sane was up there on the top turnbuckle, jumping off for the insane elbow drop onto Raquel Rodriguez, taking her out. And then after that happened, we see inside the ring, Roxanne trying to hit pop rocks onto Asuka. Asuka counters it. Roxanne bounces off the ropes onto the mat, and then Asuka was trying to hit like a spinning heel kick type move onto Roxanne, but it was completely botched like hell. but then Asuka picks up Roxanne, locking on the Asuka lock, making her tap out. So yeah, Asuka and Kairi Sane of the Kabuki Warriors defeated Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened there. Pretty decent tag team match. Just a botch ending right there, but they entered Asuka lock, making her tap out. So it was okay at best right there. I'll give that whole match 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then, after that match, we get to a promo package from the Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, where Adam Pearce says that Stephanie Vaquer deserves a women's world title match, and same for Io Sky. And then he announces that at WrestlePalooza, it will be Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky one-on-one for the WWE Women's World Championship. So yeah, that match is now set for next week, in 3 weeks at WrestlePalooza, and then next week they'll be having a contract signing for that title match. So yeah, that match is now set in place. But up next, it'll be Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee one-on-one up next on Raw. So yeah, that match is up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. It was 1.5 of the WWE World Tag Team Champions, Finn Balor with JD McDonough at ringside, the Judgment Day versus Dragon Lee one-on-one in a match tonight on Raw. So yeah, we get to this match, and the fans absolutely love Finn Balor. He gets huge pops during the match and during his entrance and all that stuff. So yeah, the fans really love Finn Balor over there in France. But yeah, we get to this match, and this match, it was a pretty good match between these two guys. A really good one, actually. Both of these guys going back at it, back and forth and everything. Finn was climbing up there on the top turnbuckle, about to hit the coup de grace onto Dragon Lee, but then Dragon Lee knocks him off, but now Finn is hanging upside down on the top turnbuckle, and then we see Dragon Lee about to get Finn, but then we see JD McDonough climbing up on the ring apron, distracting the ref, and then that's when Dragon Lee comes running up, jumping over the top rope with a Hurricane Rana onto JD McDonough, knocking him off the ring apron onto the floor, and then that's when we see Dragon Lee climb up the top turnbuckle, about to hit the double foot stomp onto Finn Balor, but then Balor grabs him by the mask, pulling him off the top turnbuckle, and then that's when Balor climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with the coup de grace onto Dragon Lee, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Finn Balor defeated Dragon Lee tonight in a one-on-one match on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, Finn Balor picks up a huge win tonight on Raw in a really good match. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a really good match, and the crowd was definitely behind Finn Balor tonight. And yeah, the crowd really loved him in France. But then after that match ended, we see a backstage segment with Nikki Bella talking to Io Sky, and they was talking about how, Nikki Bella hopes that Io Sky can win the Women's World Championship, but she got to go through her girl, Stephanie Vaquer, and then Io is wishing Nikki Bella luck on going back after the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And while that was happening, we see Asuka and Kairi Sane coming up. Asuka's all upset and everything, and then Nikki Bella leaves, and then Asuka says to Io that Nikki Bella is not their friend, and that's what she was saying there. She was talking about how she would help Io Sky at WrestlePalooza, and Io Sky was talking about how she don't need her help, and then Asuka still insisting that she would be helping her at WrestlePalooza. So yeah, that's what happened there. Asuka walks away. Kairi was trying to talk to Io, but then Asuka tells Kairi to come tag along now. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, still a lot more stuff to come later on tonight on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. But before we talk about that match, we got to talk about a backstage segment where we see Dominic Mysterio talking to Finn Balor and JD McDonough backstage, and Finn and them ask, where was Dominic? And Dominic was talking about how he was there in spirit. And then he was talking about how they need to be there for his match tonight for the Intercontinental Championship when he defends it against AJ Styles one-on-one. But then the Raw General Manager, Adam Pearce, comes up. Adam Pearce tells Dominic that he's not going to be having no one at ringside for him. And he says that he's going to be fighting this alone. And then Finn looks at Dominic and he says, we'll be there in spirit. So yeah, that's what happened there, and Finn was smiling. But yeah, then after that, we get to the next match of the night. It was Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day, teaming up with Grayson Waller versus Penta, and he was teaming up with Eric and Ivar, the War Raiders, in a 6-man tag team match. We'll get to this match. This match, it was a pretty good 6-man tag match. Woods was trying to do everything that he could do to try to pick up the win, but then Eric picks up Woods, tossing him in the air with Ivar with a big splash off the top turnbuckle onto Woods, and then that's when Penta gets tagged in, jumping off of Ivar's back with the Mexican Destroyer onto Xavier Woods, pinning him for the 3 count. So the War Raiders and Penta defeated the New Day and Grayson Waller tonight in a 6-man tag team match. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good 6-man tag team match. Then we get to a backstage segment where we see Rhea Ripley getting interviewed backstage, and she was talking about how she's going to go after the Women's World Championship if it's Io Sky or Stephanie Valkyrie, because she says that she wants to be Women's World Champion once again. And then after she got done interviewing with Byron Saxton, she gets interrupted by Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Asuka comes up, and Asuka was telling Rhea Ripley that she's not going to be challenging for the Women's World Championship once Io Sky wins it. So yeah, that's what she was telling her there. And then she tells Rhea Ripley that she's not friends with Io Sky because Rhea Ripley brought up the friendship and everything, and says that she still got gold on her mind and everything, and how she wants to be a champion just like everyone else. So yeah, that's what she tells Asuka, and then Asuka starts pushing Rhea Ripley's buttons, pretty much like tapping her on the shoulder and everything, talking about how nobody's ready for Asuka. And then Rhea Ripley tells Asuka that she better take a step back or she's going to get her hands on her. And yeah, they was just going back at it, back and forth and everything, and then Asuka finally walks away, and then Asuka screams out Kairi to come follow her. So yeah, that's what happened backstage. But yeah, pretty good segment there. But yeah, later on tonight we're going to be seeing Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship and much more. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw. Now, before we talk about the next match of the night, we got to talk about a backstage segment where we see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day going up to Adam Pearce backstage, talking to him and everything, because Roxanne Perez wants to be in that women's world title match with Io Sky and Stephanie Valkyrie and all that stuff, because she says that she deserved it after she done defeated Io Sky a couple weeks ago on Raw. So yeah, that's what Roxanne was saying there. And then Adam Pearce was talking about how, he'll possibly give her a match against Io Sky if Io Sky does win. So yeah, that's what Adam Pearce tells Roxanne Perez. But then Lyra Valkyria comes up, and Lyra wants to talk to Adam, but then we see the Judgment Day mocking her and everything, talking about Bayley and all that stuff, and talking about how she needs to go check up on Bayley and everything since she hasn't been around. So yeah, that's what they was telling Lyra Valkyria, and Lyra was getting aggravated with Judgment Day, and then they walked off, and then we see Lyra Valkyria asking for a match against one of the members of the Judgment Day next week on Raw, and Adam Pearce says that he'll make it. So yeah, that's what he said there. But then after that, we get to the next match of the night. It was the Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles, one-on-one for the Intercontinental Championship. So yeah, we get to this match, and this match, it was a really good match. Both of these guys beating the hell out of each other. Dominic pulling out new moves in this one. At one point, like, Dominic was going to win this match where he hits a frog splash onto AJ Styles. He pinned him. 1, 2, Styles barely kicked out at 2. After that, we see AJ Styles managing to hit the Styles Clash onto Dominic. He pinned him. 1, 2, Dominic got to spoil on the bottom rope, getting rope break in that match. So yeah, the match was very back and forth between these two guys, but then we see Styles taking out Dominic with a lift-up DDT onto him, which was pretty nice. He gets up on the ring apron, about to hit the phenomenal forearm onto Dominic, but then Dominic starts grabbing the ref and all that stuff, distracting him, and then we see Styles jump up in the air, and then he gets pulled back down by El Grande Americano, and the El Grande puts a metal plate in his mask, headbutting Styles, laying him out, rolls him back into the ring. Dominic quickly climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with a frog splash onto AJ, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Dominic Mysterio defeated AJ Styles tonight in a one-on-one match to retain the Intercontinental Championship with the help of El Grande Americano. It was a really good match. I forgot to mention that when these guys was getting introduced, Dominic did attack Styles from behind, pretty much, going most of the time in this match. But yeah, still a really good match between these two guys. For that match, I'll give it 4 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a really good match. But maybe we're going to be seeing AJ Styles starting a feud with El Grande Americano now, it seems like. But yeah, really good match between those two guys. After that match, we see a backstage segment with Jackie Redman interviewing LA Knight. LA Knight was talking about Jey Uso and everything, talking about how Jey Uso needs to stay off his way tonight because he already done got his way last night at Clash in Paris. And then Jey Uso comes up and he tells LA Knight that he better stay out of his way. So yeah, they're going back and forth about that. But yeah, up next, that tag team match will be happening on Raw. Then, after all that, we get to another backstage segment where we see CM Punk talking to Rhea Ripley backstage. And then we see the Raw General Manager, Adam Pearce, coming up to CM Punk, telling Punk that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and all of them has made it into the building. And Punk didn't even spotted him. So, yeah, that's what happened there. They somehow slipped by him to get into the building, and CM Punk was going to go to look for him. So, yeah, that's what happened there. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next segment of the night where we see CM Punk. He makes his way out there to the ring because Adam Pearce told him that, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch has arrived. So yeah, that's what Adam Pearce tells CM Punk, and CM Punk made his way out there to the ring. So yeah, that's what CM Punk was doing, was calling Seth Rollins out. But instead of Seth Rollins coming out, it was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch came out there with Seth Rollins' theme song playing. So, yeah, and acting like Seth Rollins and everything, holding up the Women's Intercontinental Championship and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what Becky Lynch was doing there. And, yeah, Becky Lynch gets into the ring, and CM Punk was telling Becky Lynch that, she could go on somewhere else because he don't want to see her. But if she can call Seth Rollins instead. So, yeah, that's what CM Punk was telling Becky Lynch there. But then Becky Lynch starts going off on CM Punk and talking about why she pretty much costed him the World Heavyweight Championship yesterday at Clash in Paris and everything. So, yeah, that's what she was saying there. Talking about for all these years, for 10 long years, everyone was chanting CM Punk, even during her matches, during her big moments and all that. And that's why she hates CM Punk and wanted to get revenge on him. So, yeah, that's what Becky Lynch was saying there, talking about all the fans and everything for, throughout the years and everything, chanting for CM Punk's name through her matches, and then fans was chanting AJ Lee, and then Becky Lynch was talking about how nobody wants to see her anyways because she's gone. So yeah, that's what she was saying there, and she was talking about how she's the man, how she's pretty much the best in the world because Sports Illustrated says that she was the best women's wrestler of all time and all that. So yeah, that's what Becky Lynch was saying there. So yeah, she was just stating a lot of stuff and all that stuff, and CM Punk still didn't want to see her, and he was saying that he wants Seth Rollins for cashing in on him and all that stuff. And then we do get to see Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins does come out, but he does not get to the ring, and he starts mocking CM Punk, talking about if he wants him so bad, how about he come and get him right now? And CM Punk was ready to get out of the ring and go get him, but then Seth Rollins quickly walks off. So yeah, that's what happened there. He was laughing and everything, and then CM Punk was talking about how Seth Rollins likes to hide behind Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and now even Becky Lynch. And then Punk turns around and he starts getting slapped a lot of times by Becky Lynch, getting pushed, getting slapped a lot of times from Becky Lynch. And then CM Punk looks at her and says that she's going to be regretting that, just like how Seth Rollins is going to be regretting that he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase on him, and that Becky Lynch is going to be regretting for putting her hands on him. So yeah, that's what he tells her, and he walks off, and then she starts talking a lot of crap and everything, saying na goodbye and all that stuff to CM Punk, and then fans is chanting AJ Lee and everything. So yeah, we'll probably get that mixed tag team match with AJ Lee returning. It seems like it. Definitely seems like we're getting that pretty soon. But yeah, definitely can't wait for all of that though. But yeah, pretty good segment there with everyone there. But yeah, up next will be the main event, Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in a tag team match in the main event of tonight's episode, Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the main event. It was Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, The Vision, in a tag team match in the main event of tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, we kick off this match. It was back and forth and everything during this, but then we started getting towards the ending of this match where it looked like Jey Uso and LA Knight was going to beat The Vision when we seen Bronson Reed get taken out outside the ring with a suicide dive by Jey Uso. And then inside the ring, we see LA Knight hit the BFT onto Braun Breaker. Jay climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with the Uso splash onto him. He pins him. 1, 2. The pin gets broken up at the count of 2 because Bronson Reed drags Jey Uso out of the ring, saving the match. And then Jey got thrown across the announce table as well. And LA Knight was trying to come back and fight through, but he got laid out as well. But then Jey got thrown back into the ring. He's going back at it, back and forth with Braun Breaker. But then Breaker starts managing to come back, and he hits a massive spear onto Jey Uso, and then he hits a spear onto LA Knight as well, pinning Jey for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the Vision defeated Jey Uso and LA Knight tonight in a one-on-one in a tag team match. But then after the match ended, the Vision starts attacking Jey Uso, beating him down and all that, and then LA Knight was trying to come in there and make the save, but he got hit with another spear by Braun Breaker, getting laid out, and they was beating down Jey. We see Jey get hit with a massive spear by Breaker, and then that's when Bronson Reed comes up, hitting a tsunami off the top turnbuckle onto Jey, laying him out, and then Jey was getting beat down even more by Breaker and Bronson. But then Jimmy Uso comes running out there with a steel chair, making the save, chasing the Vision out of the ring, and he was checking on Jey, and then you can hear Jey say he can't do this alone. So yeah, that's what happened there, with Jimmy Uso coming out there and making the save for Jey Uso, his brother, after the match, with the Vision defeating LA Knight and Jey Uso in the main event. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match though. What happened after the match was great stuff. I'll give it all 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. For match of the night, I probably gotta say it was the main event, or if not that, it was definitely Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. That match was really good as well. So I'd probably say that was the main event. The match of the night was the IC title match. But yeah, for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, I'll give it 8.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Actually, I'll give it 9 stars. It was a really good show. So yeah, that's why I'll give the whole show. But yeah, that's been my Monday Night Raw, September 1st, 2025 reviews. Like, subscribe to CW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris McDaniels, and follow me on all my social media accounts. I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's NXT reviews. See you guys later. Till then.